Hi, this is Dave, Dave's Vintage Baseball Cards. It's been a little while since we've made any videos for you, and I have some real rare items that I want to show you today. Now, these are the 1923 lection cards. You can take a look at this little spread of these here. Now unfortunately, these are just two different players. These are Emil and Bob Ussel, a Yankee and a New York Giant. These are from 1923. 1923 lection cards. Unless you're lucky enough to find a little hoard of these, like the person did that sold these to me, this is probably more than you'll ever see in one place at one time. So anyway, here's the story of these 1923 lection cards. And before we get started, I want to give credit to John Canfield. He's probably the first collector that found these things and got the story from one of the original owners. So as it turns out, in 1923 in Albany, New York, at a state fair, for 3 days during a campaign, the politicians were giving out cards similar to these, except they were election cards. And they were election cards that had their picture and their information on the card. Now for the kids, they had the lection cards without the E, and it was Babe Ruth, Roger Hornsby, Frisch, and then a handful, I think Chance, and then a handful of commons. These cards were issued and were only distributed, from the story that I have, for a total of 3 days. Now up until 1997, these cards were not ever even known to exist. Nobody had ever seen them. And then in 1997, I think a small group of about 30 were discovered. Prior to these being found, the grading companies SGC and PSA had graded a total of 34 of these. And the card sold about 2 years ago in a PSA 6 holder. And you can see that, here it is. I have one that is in a PSA 6 holder, but you'll get a better view of it in just a moment. Sold for about $3,800. Recently, a Babe Ruth in a PSA 3 mark sold in an auction for about $5,200 or $5,300 with the juice. And the commons, they go, now of course they go anywhere from, I guess, $500 up to a couple thousand, depending upon how nice they are. I got a call from some people in Florida. These cards are generally only found in New York. Apparently they got these at a flea market in a box with modern day cards, probably about 10 or 15 years ago, and nobody really knew what they were, and I don't think they paid more than $10 or $20 for the box. They didn't tell me exactly what they paid, but basically it was almost nothing. Now of course they had done some research on the internet, and they saw what some of the prices were, so they had a price in mind for these, which was significantly more than what they paid for them. And since I'd never even owned one of them before, or seen them for that matter, I decided that I had to buy them. Anyway, I'm going to show you some still shots of all the cards that were in the collection, because here's 8 cards here. 7 cards have already been sold, so I can't show you those. Now here you see the Babe Ruth card that we have. Absolutely gorgeous card. Just has a little smudge mark on the right, a little bit of staining there. No creases, no chips. Fairly clean back, little smudge on the back also, but really rare to find these. These cards are generally found in much lower condition, and here's an example of a Rogers Hornsby. You can see the creases. There's a couple folds in this. This is typically what you will find these cards looking like. And once again, now we move to Frank Frisch, Hall of Famer, New York Giants. Creases, but nice corners, not a dirty card, fairly nice. But here's the real rarity. You get 4 Emil Mussels, with the exception of one that has a smudge mark and some staple holes in it. You can see these cards are in beautiful condition, graded in 4s and 5s. These cards came in either orange or green print. Now here's 2 Bob Mussels, New York Yankees, in orange, and these cards both were probably in ex-mint condition. Absolutely gorgeous. And here you see a variety of 6 of the green Bob Mussels, and I got these graded in 4s and 5s and 6s, 4s, 2 5s and a 6, I believe, and I have 2 of these that are still rare, which are probably VGX or something like that. But for this particular issue, these are considered to be extremely high grade, as there's only a handful of cards that have ever even been graded higher than a PSA 3. I've still got a couple of them that have not been graded. I've got 2 cards that have been graded by SGC. This one has some staple holes in it and a little ink smudge up in the upper right-hand corner. It's an SGC 10, which is a good. This is a fairly nice card. It's an excellent condition card at SGC 60. And then on the PSA cards, I got one that's in a VGX 4 holder. We got 2, a Bob and an Emil Musso in PSA 5 holders. And then there is an Emil Musso in a 6 holder. Now for type collectors, or if you're a type collector and a Yankee collector, because we've got quite a few of the Bob Mussos, and he was a New York Yankee. That would be this guy right here. And I think I have about 4 or 5 or 6 of these still. This is a must-have because hardly anybody, and in talking to John, the guy who is probably the foremost expert on these things, with this group that I found, there's probably less than 75 of these even known to exist. And these are super rare. You'll never see them. And of course, we're always trying to buy tougher, more unusual issues like this. So if you have something you want to contact us with, please do. If you're interested in obtaining one of these cards, we still have them. Give us a holler about that. And thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.